So Laura, when we sat down to think about what we were going to do, what movies we were going to cover for our third holiday series, we realized that a lot of people did not get to experience our first season, and nobody has gotten to experience it in video form. But we still have all the footage from it. So what we decided to do is to re-release the 5 films that we shared 2 years ago. And all of these will be available for the first time in video form, re-released in audio form with a little something extra.
Yeah, so definitely necessary that we are staying true to our new format of having our this or that segment. So we're going to be re-recording those and including them in all of these holiday releases.
So whether you're listening or watching for the first time or revisiting these with us, we hope you'll enjoy them, and we hope that you'll have a great holiday season.
Michelle, we're starting off with your background of this movie because you have never watched this before.
Yes, and it doesn't make any sense because I am pretty sure that our family owned this. Like, we have one of those like hard shell VHS tapes that checks out.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I just have this image burned in my head of Arnold Schwarzenegger like screaming on the front of it.
Well, let's assume that we got this in 1997. Let's assume that it came out Christmas of 96, and by the time it ended up in our house, it was roughly a year later. So that would make me around 14 and you around 4. So this is the reason I'm shocked that I've never seen this before. I was not like a cool teenager. I mean, like, I was in orchestra. I didn't have my first real boyfriend until I was almost 17, but for some reason, I was too cool to watch Jingle All the Way at age 14.
I don't think you were too cool. I think you may have just been watching other things, and it kind of was a little bit more kid friendly, so we were watching it even though we weren't allowed to watch anything. So you probably, I don't think you were watching anything else that was risque at this age. But
I'd love to ask our sister Allison, who's like the second in our family, if she remembers watching this, because I feel
should
like
we call her in?
Should we call her like right now? She definitely will not answer.
She definitely won't. I think Lisa would answer though.
Lisa would answer, and I associate this movie more with you and Lisa.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see if Lisa answers.
Okay.
If not, she's in for
possibly putting her children to bed.
No. We'll see. Maybe she's watching it.
Hey.
Lisa, you're on our podcast right now, so we just have a quick question for you. Are you ready?
What's up?
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your memories of watching Jingle All the Way? Because Michelle and I are having trouble figuring this out because she had never seen it before, even though we owned the VHS. But like, what were your memories of watching this movie?
This was one that I feel like was very niche for us, like as a Christmas movie that we're like really into for a few years, but like nobody else was. And I guess I would put it in like the same category as Home Alone 3, where people would probably shame us for even liking it, but you were of the age where it would have been the most exciting for you, because I think the whole Turbo Man concept was similar to like Buzz Lightyear, and they were just trying to like, you know, focus on that like excitement of like getting a toy that was like a hot toy that was in demand.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of our family, like,
yeah, because Michelle has never seen this, and we're trying to figure out why that is.
It makes no sense that I've never seen this, because I've seen, you mentioned Home Alone 3. I've seen that.
I think it was probably one that we didn't like all watch together as sisters. I think like probably me and you watched it more than anyone else. And I specifically remember like watching it with Kristen and Kelly and Kevin. Like, we definitely watched it at their house sometimes. And I don't remember if we like saw it in the movies. I feel it was kind of like a low budget.
Yeah. No, it actually wasn't, which is crazy.
I guess it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I remember the like neighbor who was like trying to hit on the mom. Like, it was so creepy. I had to. He was probably one of like the creepiest, like whatever supporting actors. Like,
yes,
it was just so creepy.
Yes.
And who was the? And wasn't the wife?
Rita.
Yeah, Rita Wilson.
Our girl Rita. Yeah.
Yeah.
A
so
queen.
you guys, obviously, you have to tie Tom Hanks into like everything, even though he's not in.
He's everywhere.
Jingle All the Way was one that we were kind of like had a little like phase with, and like I don't know, the jokes were so cheesy, but it just was like I don't know. I think Arnold was just like really funny, honestly, in that movie, and he was like, I think he like made that movie, you know, he's just like a ridiculous character, and yeah, so. I feel like I can't ask further questions right now.
No, I love it. I wish you were on for this whole episode because I feel like you have really good muscle memory with this one. All right. Well, I will text you later because I miss you.
All right.
All right.
You too. Bye.
Love you. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
All right. So that answers it. I think that it's one of those childhood movies that we had a phase with, and apparently
You left me out. Maybe that was
we left you out. Yeah, we think we just didn't want you in it. And you weren't a big toy person, especially at that age.
What I found surprising was, I mean, I remember Tickle Me Elmo was like a huge gift that everyone was trying to get for Christmas and couldn't, which very much like follows this storyline. But what I found surprising was that when that happened, the Tickle Me Elmo craze was the year that this movie came out. So it's not like it was based on that. It said it was based on Cabbage Patch Kid dolls, which was I wonder when the script was originally written, because Cabbage Patch Kid dolls were even like a little bit before my generation. Like I had one when I was like really little, and our older cousins had them. But I think by the time, you know, you guys were kids, like they were kind of like, you knew what they were, but they weren't like the hot toy. So I thought that was really funny that it ended up being that Tickle Me Elmo, like this story really came to life through that event.
Yeah, no, it kind of just the timing worked out, I think.
Do we want to talk before we get into our other segments about malls? I mean, you were kind of like born into a world where malls had already existed for quite some time. Like you don't remember a time where malls were not a thing, right?
No, and actually my first mall memory comes to a conversation that I would have with mom and dad repeatedly about them bringing up when malls weren't a thing for them. And they would talk about how they would drive to Nanuet, which is the town that we ended up growing up in, to go to the Nanuet Mall, which was, you know, the iconic shout out to the shops at Nanuet name rebrand. But I remember them positioning it that way to me as a kid, like, you know, there was a time where malls weren't a thing, and, you know, you guys are so lucky that you have access to all these stores that you can just go to and drive down the road. So to your point, I never remember a world growing up where malls did not exist. What about you?
Yeah, same. So I'm glad we were able to give a little shout out to the Nanuet Mall. That was definitely in existence when I was born in 1983. To my knowledge. But what I didn't realize was like how short the mall era was. I mean, just generally speaking, I think it was maybe mid to late 70s through, I mean, I realize that there are still malls that exist, but it's kind of like a dying thing.
It's not what they used to be.
It's not what they used to be. And just thinking about that time frame, I didn't realize how significant it was that. So we mentioned the Nanuet Mall, which was like a regular sized small mall in a small town that people would drive to because it was like the only mall within a region, but it was still pretty tiny. Later on, and the reason I'm saying this is significant is because in my lifetime, in my timeline, when this happened, they opened up another mall just a few miles down the road called the Palisades Center, which still exists. And this mall is like a mega mall, like 4 floors, and it opens up like right before I started high school. So I'm sure this is the same for both of us, even though we're 10 years apart, but like every significant thing that happened to me, I feel like happens in that mall. Like 4th floor, we had the ice skating rink, the movies, the IMAX, Chili's, Target, Barnes and Noble. Every social thing that I did in high school basically took place on that 4th floor.
Johnny Rockets.
Johnny Rockets. Oh my goodness. Now that one was not on the 4th floor, but
I think it was on the 1st floor. One of the first, if you were going in the west entrance, which entrance it was. I actually remember being a kid and Michelle having disposable camera photos of her and her friends at Johnny Rockets. And if she whipped them out now, they would probably be pretty hip. I'm not going to lie. Because they kind of have like the old disposable feel, which people are bringing back. The Palisades Mall was an integral part of my childhood. Anything you wanted to do socially, you went there because it had everything. The more concerning part about the Palisades Mall is that not only did it have a Home Depot and a BJ's in it, but it's also sinking into the ground. So
yes.
Little concerned on that, but it definitely didn't stop anyone from going there. But I would say for this movie, I don't know if they actually I'm sure they shoot it at the Mall of America, but from where we lived on the East Coast, the Palisades Mall was our Mall of America. It just was smaller, but
not that much smaller though.
Not that much smaller. And so we grew up in Rockland County, New York, and a lot of people, if you would meet someone from Westchester County or other counties in the state, I would usually say I live 10 minutes from the Palisades Mall. And then people would know what town that was. So it was kind of a center point for people to understand where you lived. I kind of remember, there's certain facts that you learn as a kid. You just keep repeating them. I remember always saying, it's the second biggest mall in America.
Yeah.
Next to the Mall of America. So cool. Go consumerism. Go capitalism.
In some world where Mall of America in Minnesota, the great state of Minnesota, does not exist, this movie could have taken place at our mall easily.
Should we maybe do a rewrite of the movie and have it take place in Rockland County? Because I'm in.
Where would they do the parade? Pearl River.
Where all the parades take place, it would be pretty amazing. No, I mean, it would probably be in New York City. It's not that far away. I have no idea where this parade was taking place. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into this, but the parade was giving me a lot of Thanksgiving parade energy.
So Palisades Center still exists, and they have not rebranded like the shops at Nanuet, like the Nanuet Mall rebranded. Does Mall of America still exist?
I think so. There's no way they would close that down because I feel like people still go there as an attraction point. I remember being a kid and hearing about Mall of America that they had an amusement park in it because I love amusement parks, or I did when I was younger, and I always wanted to go.
When they say amusement park, is there like a full amusement park in the mall, or are there just rides like inside the Palisades Center? There's obviously like a carousel. There's a carousel in a lot of malls, but they also had a Ferris wheel, and I'm sure some like other like small dinky rides.
There was There definitely was a ride because do you remember sitting in the food court and hearing people screaming?
Yes. But it wasn't like a
It might have been at the I think it was like a dinky ride inside. Oh my God, it's gonna bother me. What was that place with the green, like that really electric green logo above the food court? And it was like a kids, they had rides. They definitely had rides and games
like a
there. I mean,
Discovery
they
Zone
closed down
type place.
kind of, but it was like I feel like it was something with a donkey. I don't know why. Don't quote me on this. I have to go back in the Palisades archives and look at all the business. Donkey roller coaster.
All right, while you're looking at the Donkey Coaster, this is what I wanted to bring up when you said amusement park. We heard so much about this, the Mall of America. So when we got our mall, we must have been told, oh, we're going to have rides in it. And inside the mall, there are these like architectural structures that look like a giant, really complex roller coaster that looks like it appears like it goes throughout the entire mall, all 4 floors, however many miles wide it is. But it's fake. It's not actually a roller coaster. It just looks like one, which was such a tease as a kid.
Such a tease. Okay, so are you ready for this?
Yes.
Jeepers.
Oh my God, Jeepers.
Jeepers. That's what it was.
Did you ever go to a party at Jeepers?
I don't think so. I might have gotten invited to a couple because I was so popular and cool.
You were.
Definitely was not. I don't remember ever going. I remember always walking by it because whenever you were on the 4th floor, it was really hard to miss. I think it speaks volumes to how much we went there because it is such a big mall, but I always knew where to go. I feel like we needed to record this like from the Palisades Mall. Even
on
though
location?
I vowed to never go back, but on location, yeah.
I feel like now its primary use is there's a lot of like mall walkers who go. I mean, because it's so big that like, you know, just walking the whole mall once has to be a few miles.
I feel like I just want to talk about the mall for the rest of the episode. The movie is undertones about consumerism.
Yes.
Consumerism, capitalism, and truly how it brings out the worst in us, around the holidays where it's supposed to be a time of giving and cheer and happiness. And this movie is a direct message about how we have the wrong focuses over the holidays, and it portrays it pretty well.
Let's get into what we like because my contributions to this section are going to be very minimal. And then once we get into like things we hate, I have so much to say. I'm sorry. I feel like a little bit funny because this is my first time watching this. This is a childhood treasure of yours, but it's not going to be good.
You are not ruining anything because I was watching this last night and I watched it 2 nights ago. I fell asleep and I had to rewatch some of the end yesterday. And I was holding back texting you to say this movie is fucking awful. This is an awful film. And I didn't want to say that because I knew it was your first time and I wanted to let you, form your own opinion, but truly a horrible movie.
It's terrible.
Horrible.
Very quickly, what other than the nostalgia of this being a movie you watched when you were a kid, what did you like?
I love the 90s. I'm a 90s kid. Born in 93. I'm proud of it. So there's certain things I think about the setting. So taking away the mall part, but when you think about even just the opening scene where they end up showing him at his holiday party and the outfits that people were wearing, like you really felt like you were in a time machine back in the 90s. I liked aspects of that because that's always going to have a nostalgia and funny and fuzzy feeling for me. But on the flip side, I am so happy that we've moved in a direction design wise in people's homes. Like their home design is truly terrible. I have no idea who decorated their homes, but it's not Nina Banks because it's bad. I'm sure we're going to get into the problematic nature of Ted's character, but I like him as part of the movie because he's just so ridiculous. And I thought the idea of someone buying a reindeer just really adds some comedic relief to this movie that's supposed to be a comedy, but I didn't laugh once. But I think that the reindeer has held up for me. It's still funny.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think the only thing that I really liked was that immediate late to mid 90s nostalgia that came over me watching this. I mean, it completely transported me to that time. And it was funny that Lisa mentioned our childhood friends, Kristen and Kelly and Kevin, because I feel like, that this was a time where, and they were friends also, like they lived behind us. So I felt like we spent a lot of time with them. We spent a lot of time at their house, and we're lucky. We had a great childhood and great memories. And that was just, I feel like, a really happy time and simple time in our lives. So it's really not what I liked about the movie. It's really more about what I liked about our life in 1996.
Going a little bit more into nostalgia feelings, I would say the parade scene is kind of a really big part of this movie because it's pretty long. And it kind of brought me back to a place of when we were younger. We would always go to the Thanksgiving parade in New York City, which was always very exciting. Seeing how excited Jamie was in this movie, I remember feeling that amount of excitement leading into the Thanksgiving parade in New York City.
Did you remember or understand that it took place in Minnesota as a kid?
I don't think I paid attention to it, but they mention it a lot.
Yeah, so in the beginning, I may have missed it, like if they mentioned it, but the first scene where they're kind of on that street where he first runs into like Sinbad's character, I noticed at that point, I'm like, okay, this is like it feels like a smaller town and there's snow on the ground, but this could be like anywhere at this point, like in December. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was really until like the mall part became part of it that I realized that it was set in Minnesota. But I think that I would guess that Minnesota was colder and had more snow at that time of year.
Yeah.
It was kind of sparse and sunny.
When you think of children Christmas movies, so you think about Home Alone. They take place in Chicago. So it's holding up the Midwest theme because maybe that's something that's worked well in the past. And it's kind of like, of course there's going to be snow. Of course it's going to be cold. So I don't know. I don't really know if that's intentional, but I think also the whole idea of this being very much rooted in consumerism and it literally being about a dad who's obsessed with getting a toy for their child so that they're happy because the biggest mall in America is there. That's probably why they did it. I think that it was just kind of a selection of place based on that.
Okay, that's fair. I was just expecting more snow, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, but other than that, I don't even think that I just said that I liked it. I don't think that I really liked anything from this movie. I just like the 90s and it took place in the 90s. So do you have anything that you enjoyed?
This is a very minor detail, but Rita Wilson's character, Liz, I liked her. She wore this one outfit toward the end of the movie that was kind of like a black, like long sleeve with some kind of like a vest type thing over it. And I thought that was really cute. But again, like she wasn't even wearing a jacket. So I don't think it was that cold.
Yeah, I agree. I think of all the characters, I hate everyone in this movie, probably except her, because she's most human
Mm-hmm.
and she's a little spunky and she makes good cookies. What's not to love?
Does she, though? Let's save that. Let's put a pin in that. We'll debate it later.
Just don't take that away from me.
Okay.
Let me believe that her sugar
Fine.
cookies are good.
Liz's cookies were delicious.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Rita.
Are you ready? Do you need some water before we get into this?
I need some alcoholic
Some eggnog.
We need what did we say? Ted's nog?
Ted nog.
Ted nog. We need some Ted nog up in here. But maybe not his, because I feel like he spiked it or did something creepy with it. And all right, Michelle, you start. I'm going to give you the honors because of the episodes we've recorded so far, we usually don't have a laundry list of things that we hate, but
that's true. This is going to be
we're going to be on this segment for a while, but it might be a rapid fire. So let's get into it.
Okay, I'm going to start in a very random place, but this is the thing that I can't stop thinking about how much I hate and how much this annoyed me. I can't even get this out. The ball girl. The girl.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Please air out your laundry right now. I need to know. Okay, go.
Okay. I should preface this by saying anyone who's like into self-help has heard of this phenomenon that like if you're upset about something or if you're annoyed by something, it's likely a reflection of something that has to do with you. And I think that this little girl, the ball girl, the girl who stole the ball, what was it? It was like a little, she stole this token from Howard and is just being a complete menace. But I think the reason that it was really annoying me is because this little girl looks like she was taken out of the 80s, not out of the 90s. She's wearing these like overalls and she has this like awful haircut. But I think she looks a little bit like I did, like when I was like 3 or 4. If we can find a good picture comparison, we'll post it on Instagram. Look for us at Films at Table Pod.
Am I able to share my screen with you so I can show you my notes? Because I have written down her haircut reminds me of you because it's you.
I'm the ball girl.
You're the ball girl. So you're upset with mom and dad. You're airing out your frustrations for giving you a horrible haircut. But we didn't really go in McDonald's playpens too much when we were younger. I remember wanting to because all the other kids were. But I remember watching that scene as a child and being visibly grossed out by the ball pit. They still give me the heebie-jeebies today. I can't handle them. There's so many kids. There's so much unknown in that ball pit. So I don't know. I think the both of us just need to go to therapy over this scene because something is clearly unleashing in us. But then she puts the ball in her mouth.
Oh my God.
I remember being a kid and watching it and still being grossed out. And I can't watch this scene. It drives me nuts. We're done with ball pits.
I don't think I share in your hate of them as much, only because this must have been like when you were really little. So maybe you didn't get to enjoy this or not. But our Aunt Amanda used to take us, at least like the cousins, to Discovery Zone when we were little. And that was so much fun. But of all the Discovery Zone zones, I disliked the ball pit purely because...
Are you going to say something about a diaper?
I really hated the ball pit because of the static factor. Like, you could not go in there without your hair standing
the
on
hair
end.
that you did not have because you had a bowl cut. So I don't know why you're concerned about the static. My irrational fear of ball pits, I think maybe someone told me it once so they didn't have to take me in it.
Mom, but it says mom written all over it.
I always had an irrational fear of being in the ball pit and there being like a floating diaper just in the ball pit and finding it.
That is absolutely something that Mom would say, because Mom hated Discovery Zone and McDonald's, and I mean the hatred of the ball pits definitely stems from her and Dad. I mean,
they are not ball pit people,
No.
so I guess it's really runs deep in our blood that Tropianos are not ball pit people. So I think it
Sorry.
makes sense why we were disturbed at this scene, and it's I'm just realizing that my first under what did we hate is the ball pit gives me anxiety. Oh my God. I think we have to move on because I'm sure there's a lot of listeners who had lovely memories in ball pits, but I hope there's some fellow understanding of our hatred.
I know that you're very in tune now when you watch movies, so I was just curious if you picked up on this. The ball pit scene was not the last time we saw the girl who stole the ball. Did you notice that she pops up again?
She at the parade?
No.
In a stroller?
In the scene where Ted is, I think he's showing the reindeer like to the neighborhood. She somehow, I think that she like lives in their neighborhood.
Okay. I'm going to hand it back to you because I think this is another anxiety driven one that I hate, but go ahead.
I'll take it in a serious direction just so I can stop like crying. This movie is very violent.
You know what? Nobody likes you, Booster. Oh, wow!
We don't like you, Dad! We hate you!
I looked up the rating and I looked up, it was labeled as like PG for action-related violence.
They didn't have ratings in the 90s. They did. They let it fly. They did, but it was kind of a free-for-all. I don't think that they really got strict until the early 2000s. I was going to say we were never a Black Friday family. Never did Black Friday. And the stampede scenes, a lot of stampede scenes, a lot of running, a lot of tackling, a lot of stepping on the workers' faces, and I've had enough. When you would see those things in the news, like 2 Walmart employees were viciously stampeded yesterday in the Black Friday opening. What are we doing as a society if we're trampling people for $50 TVs? What's going on here? So kind of bringing it back up in the movie put a bad taste in my mouth. But when I was reading up on some fun facts about this movie, I think the writers included that because of their negative experiences of being in those situations and being amongst the chaos.
It's very over the top, though. Like, it's not just the stampedes, but there was like one moment where I was like, this is in this movie, like in this children's comedy, action comedy movie, but it's toward the beginning. It may be the first scene that Sinbad, Myron, is in, and he puts his hands around a woman's neck and like chokes her in a crowd of people and then just goes on with his life.
I'm telling you, Black Friday brings out the worst. The holiday shopping brings out the worst in people. I think that this is an important topic to talk about because even though we've moved away, I would hope some people have. I know that there's still really dedicated Black Friday shoppers, but the anxiety around getting Christmas gifts before the time is up still runs deep, at least for me, because at least we don't need to go into the store, but you still have that thought of like, oh my gosh, I have to get 8 of these people gifts. I love the holidays and it gives me a lot of nostalgia and fuzzy feelings, but this movie really is a testament to how it can bring out the worst in people for things that you buy and then don't use a month later.
Yes.
It's not even a cool doll.
No. What else do you have?
I think we should get into Ted a little bit because I understand that he's supposed to be over the top. I know that he was sort of on my like list because there were scenes with him that I think were funny. So this actor Sadly, actually, this was his last movie because he passed away, but he was mostly known for his Bill Clinton impressions on SNL. And I think that he plays this character really well, and I think it's a funny character, but not for a kids movie.
Yes.
It's really inappropriate, and it's creepy, and if I was a parent watching this movie, I would feel uncomfortable having this included in the script.
Yeah, definitely cannot see it doing anything for the kids. And I don't feel like
Also,
it really...
why is he the dreamy dad? Why is he the one that all the moms are trying to bake cookies for?
Was it supposed to kind of be a joke that everyone liked him, even though he was not, in my mind, very appealing? Or was he supposed to be appealing? And it was just... I'm not even talking about just from like a physical standpoint. I think just his... What were the qualities about him that made people, other than that he like helped out the neighborhood?
The interactions between him and Howard are probably my favorite parts of the movie because it's just funny how much he hates him. I don't know. Other than that, I think that it was low-key a very problematic character.
Yeah, I mean, in thinking about when we reviewed Mrs. Doubtfire, we were talking about how the character of Stu was so funny because he was like so over the top, like attractive and charming. Like, why didn't they go in that direction?
Yeah.
It was a very confusing placement.
I don't know what they were trying to do there. Yeah. Because I think it would have been even funnier if Liz was still so not interested in him and him be kind of like this charming guy who's better than everyone. But I don't know.
It didn't land with me.
It didn't land. And I don't really remember even thinking into it when I was younger watching this. I think it was just in the background of me not caring.
I was also really, I don't know, I will put this under things that I hate, but just something that was surprising and confusing to me. I thought when I sat down to watch this, when I thought that I had seen this before, that I knew that Sinbad was in it, and I knew that he was kind of like an adversary to Howard's character. But I think I thought that Sinbad's character was kind of this like, at first they were enemies and then they end up like teaming up together to teach each other a lesson kind of thing. But this movie really, it has two villains in it. I mean, Myron and Ted are both, and the policeman. Yes, great point.
Yeah. Who is the hero in this movie?
I mean, I guess it was Howard because it was told from his perspective, but...
Gene Parmesan.
Private Detective Gene Parmesan. How are you doing?
Ah, Gene! Oh, Gene, isn't he the best?
Yeah. Maybe we can award that to Gene, to Martin Mull.
We love
the radio
Gene.
DJ.
Of anyone who cannot see my name on today's Zoom, my name is Gene Parmesan, but Jean.
Laura's middle name.
My new name. He probably was one of the only things that I know we're in the hate section, but he was probably one of the only things that I enjoyed about this movie because he was kind of like a surprise and he was a radio personality and I thought that was funny. That landed well.
Yeah, that was good casting.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Myron. I really do not understand that character. I don't understand why he's so violent. I don't understand his motivations because does he have a kid?
He does have a kid, but I think because we don't see him, it makes it feel like he's not there.
Yeah, like that is so strange that his kid's not in it.
Cute if his kid was also at the parade and at least at the end Jamie gives him the toy.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. Yeah.
That would have been really sweet, but instead they're taking him away in handcuffs because he was violent and interrupted the parade and kidnapped a child. kidnapped a child for the show, which is another thing.
Kidnapped a child, assaulted a woman.
I don't necessarily I think that Sinbad is funny. I think that he has that range, and I think that it's almost like it wasn't the time and place for this movie.
It was just an awfully written character, and I feel bad for Sinbad because I agree. He was very entertaining.
So, did you read who they wanted it to be?
I did, but I didn't think that would have made it any better.
Me either. So it was supposed to be Joe Pesci to keep the Home Alone theme going, and probably more as an audience draw than anything. But if we want to get into it, Home Alone, pretty violent movie for kids. Probably, it's more, I don't know. I guess when you're young, you're not thinking too much into it, but this movie is like a different type of violent.
No, that's it. And Home Alone to me is different because it's mostly a kid who's being violent towards an adult. So it's the dynamic is different. This is like adults being violent to each other. And there was also the scene where they're in the diner where Myron has this whole like story that he tells about how he really wanted this gun when he was a kid and his dad wouldn't buy it for him. And I just wrote this note that said, like, thank God Myron's dad didn't give him a gun.
Yeah. Yeah. His character, I think this is supposed to be a comedy. So maybe when you're a kid, you're laughing. I don't really even remember laughing at this movie, but I didn't laugh once watching this.
I laughed at one thing. I'll save it for my favorite quote.
Okay. I'm excited. Anything else that you hated? I have one other thing that I want to share, but it's more of another PTSD moment. I don't like Christmas caroling or carolers. And why are they caroling in the middle of the broad daylight? I know it's Christmas Eve, but our parents made us Christmas carol one year, and I remember going and being really confused as to why we were doing it because it was really uncomfortable. I'm sorry. I'm not a Christmas caroler, and I don't want them. I'm done with them.
I'm sure you were not as confused as the people whose doors we were knocking on.
Because whose idea was this? It's different when you're talking about the 1600s and people are just walking around their villages and they know each other. But this is the modern era and people do not want to be bothered. People do not want strangers knocking on their door and singing to them. I can assure you there's no one.
Not even in the mid-90s. I mean, that was my childhood trauma that we got pulled into Christmas caroling.
This is a tough episode together. It's bringing up a lot. I don't know if this is a therapy session or
part therapy, part Christmas.
All right, Michelle, if you had to pick a favorite line, what are you going to go with?
Okay, so this is a favorite line mixed with just something that I always find funny for some reason. So this happens at the end of the movie during the parade, and I believe it's Myron who's trying to push his way through the crowd, but they're, in the middle of the parade, there are all these different Christmas characters, people dressed up in costumes. He approaches this person who's dressed up in a costume that's like a Christmas present with a bow on it, but you can still see their arms and legs like popping out, and he just says,
"Get out of my way, box!"
"Get out of my way, box!" And once again, the violence returns, and he pushes said box with the arms and legs out of the way.
Myron gave us one piece of happiness, and that's about it. I do like some of the comebacks that Howard Schwartz has back to Ted. And I like when he's pulling out and Ted saying, you should really wrap some chains around those tires. And he goes, why don't we wrap some chains around you? Another good Arnold's quote, he calls and Ted is in his kitchen making cookies and he says,
Put that cookie down now!
Another thing that he says at the beginning that I laughed at and wrote down was when he says,
Hey, neighbor! Ted, what the hell are you doing on my roof?
I think just the Ted and Howard interactions land well for me. And there's not that many of them because they're not together most of the movie, unfortunately.
Good point.
Too many Ted and Liz moments and not enough Ted and Howard moments. Okay, if you had to go with favorite scene, I know which one it's not. It's not the ball scene.
Okay, I have a caveat to the ball scene. My favorite scene actually was the beginning part of the ball scene, not the ball pit, but artistically, and I had to dig here to like find a scene that I liked. When they first throw all of those balls up in the air, I was like, oh, this is kind of like fun and colorful and artfully, I'll put in quotations, done.
I think that the cookie scene is kind of funny because maybe at this moment I'm just hungry and I'm thinking about cookies, but I just find it that he comes in and he just puts on an apron and he's taking over the cookies.
I'm just helping Liz out a little in the kitchen. She's making up a storm here.
Ted, I need to speak to my wife. So could you get her on the phone, please?
I think she's in the shower, Howard. Do you want me to go check?
No!
I'm glad that you brought that up because I wanted to say that I thought those cookies looked horrible.
Okay.
They looked like kind of burnt.
So I didn't really get a good look at the cookies. I think I just heard Christmas cookies and then I was just got excited.
Oh, I was supposed to talk about what I didn't like about the reindeer. That you thought the reindeer worked. The scene where Howard,
kind of like an annoying reindeer, though. I think the idea of having a reindeer is funny, but the reindeer that they cast was not my favorite.
You wanted a different reindeer actor? That was the problem?
Yeah, they needed a different one. What are they? I don't know.
Prancer?
It was another violent part of the movie. It was a violent reindeer.
It was.
Why couldn't they have a docile one? I don't like that Arnold Schwarzenegger's giving him beer outside.
Oh,
it just
yeah.
was
Like, why?
weird. Like, even if I don't like, I would never, be given a reindeer beer.
No.
It's just weird.
How are we going to do foods that we liked and dinner party with this movie? I already said that I thought that these Christmas cookies looked terrible, so I definitely was not craving Christmas cookies when I watched this. Other than the cookies, was there anything that this movie made you want to eat or drink?
Really just eggnog, because there's not too many food moments in this movie. Definitely not Ted's eggnog, but it makes me want a glass of eggnog.
Here, have some non-alcoholic eggnog.
It's not a very appetizing spread, but when they do have the Christmas party in the beginning, it just reminds me of doing a potluck with friends or doing a potluck with coworkers and everyone bringing a dish. And it doesn't necessarily need to be Christmas tied, but as of recent, our sister Lisa, who was on this episode, she makes a really good ham. And I feel like I could go for like a Christmas ham with some pineapple. Could be pretty good. A little different, not something we grew up with as much, but that's what I remember eating that last year.
Nothing really seemed appetizing to me in this, but I love like a good diner meal. So the scene where they sat at the diner, I don't even remember if they ate anything.
They don't eat anything.
Okay.
They
But
have coffee with alcohol in it.
oh, that's right. That's right. But yeah, I just in talking about this, I could go for like a turkey club with French fries or just a dish of onion rings and a milkshake, something like that.
You're really making me want when we're going to New York City in a couple weeks and meeting up, and you really make me want like a pastrami on rye sandwich, even though that's not deep in this movie.
Are you ready to move into dinner party? The Christmas dinner party?
We're going to make these episode themes a Christmas dinner party. So think a lot of bright reds. Michelle and I are both wearing green today, although you can't see my green shirt because the sun has gone down now and it's dark in my room. But think about a lot of bright Christmas colors and Christmas lights everywhere and Christmas trees in these settings that we're painting for you. So, Michelle, I will go first. I'm going to give you 3 people, as we always do. And I am going to give you all of the people that you hate the most from this movie. So I'm going to give you the bowl cut ball pit girl, Myron, and Ted.
Oh, no. You know what? The year is 1996. I'm going to get it like one of those big bags of frozen chicken tenders from Costco and make them. I'm not even going to make them in the oven. I'm going to make them in the microwave.
This is ballsy of you.
I do not want to put any time into making these people comfortable or to encourage them to stick around, especially if they're coming to my house.
Tyson ones?
Yeah, like Tyson.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah, I'm making them Tyson chicken fingers, crinkle cut French fries, and because our mother trained us well, I have to serve vegetables, so I'll buy one of those veggie platters, with like ranch dressing in the middle because it's like a Christmas party. I'll be like, here's your party platter.
So violent, so much anger behind this meal.
And subpar sugar cookies for dessert, but I'll put them in a little like paper bag and tie one of those ribbons and do the little ribbon curling and be like, thanks for coming.
I have 2 things to add. I'm picturing a giant bowl of ketchup, but not in a filling one, and everyone's just hands are in it.
Yes.
So people are getting individual, or a ketchup bottle that's been used and it has like maybe even expired, who knows. And for the Christmas cookies, I'm picturing you giving the reject cookies, so of the ones that our nieces and nephews make, and no one wants to eat them because they're just messy and unappetizing or they're burnt, and those are the ones that you're giving away.
I'm gonna make yours a little bit more pleasant. Let's pick 3 of the more appealing characters. At your dinner party, you'll be hosting Liz, Rita Wilson, Jean Parmesan, Martin Mull, the DJ, and who the actor at least has appeared in another dinner party in an earlier episode, I believe in the Mrs. Doubtfire episode that we did.
Yes.
And your 3rd party member is the policeman.
I don't love the policeman, but he'll have to do, I guess. I'm really jealous that I'm not Jean Parmesan because he keeps getting invites to all these dinner parties. It's pretty amazing. I think I'm just going to go with one of our more favorite Christmas spreads. So growing up, we always had the 7 fishes. So I think I'm going to go with some spaghetti with clams. I feel like Jean Parmesan is adventurous and he's open to having some seafood on Christmas, whether or not he's Italian. I am definitely going to do another pasta as another dish. I'm going to do my mom's homemade lasagna rolls, which are always a favorite. And I am going to keep it simple and make a tossed green salad because you can never go wrong. Also, probably one of those really big containers of lettuce from Costco because we would always around the holidays. And we are going to have a bottle of red wine, as I have had at all of my dinner parties on this podcast. I feel like no cocktails because I like these people, but I don't like them enough to make them fun cocktails. And then we're going to have my eggnog with Liz's cookies, but like the good cookies, not the ones that were burnt. So
I
2
like
pasta
this.
dishes, a salad, cookies, and eggnog for dessert.
Double pasta dinner. That's the dream.
Double pasta. So I definitely like these people, but I'm not willing to roll out the red carpet for them. I just want to eat and send them on their way.
Yeah, as much as I hate this movie and hate these characters, the reason that I'm not overextending myself at this dinner party is because we have a few more films coming up in this series, and I don't want to give away some of our best Christmas dishes just yet.
Yes.
And drinks.
All right, let's get into our this or that. So, Michelle, would you rather get charged by a reindeer or get beat up by a bunch of Santas?
I'm petrified of that reindeer. I'm going to go with the Santas. Even they're criminals, I feel like a lot of them looked like not in great shape. So I can maybe
that's
take
true.
them.
You can fend them off.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have Ted's eggnog or Ted's cookies?
Again, those cookies looked awful.
I know.
I'm going to go with the eggnog, at least if it's spiked. Like, how bad could it be?
And there is something comforting about being in one of those thermoses that you can take out on a chilly day. Would you rather be Turbo Man or Dementor in the Wintertainment Parade?
It's Dementor, that's his name?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he kind of has a cooler outfit.
Yeah, I like the colors.
I mean, it's all very problematic, but I'm going to go with him.
Yeah.
Just for the fashion choice.
Agree. I think also Turbo Man does more flying. Like he goes through someone's holiday Christmas gathering at one point, and it's a no for me.
And I'm really afraid of heights, so
same.
I'd be right out. Yeah.
Would you rather get charged by a doorbuster crowd or retrieve the ball from the mouth of the ball pit girl?
You know what? I think I could take the ball pit girl too. I would rather retrieve the ball.
Yeah. I know you hear nightmare stories about people actually getting trampled at Black Friday deals. So I wonder if that still happens, but terrifying. Okay, and last one for me. Would you rather forget to buy a gift for your spouse or your child?
Spouse.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I just think of Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire when he's like, look at that little face. That's what I would think of.
Once again, we have many similarities, but not exactly the same. What would you rather get loose in your house? Arnold Schwarzenegger or a reindeer?
Arnold. I don't do animals in homes, not even domesticated ones.
How would you rather spend an afternoon? In a ball pit or Christmas caroling through someone's neighborhood?
I think that I would get wasted at the mall. Like I would go to a TGI Fridays, booze up so I'm not conscious of the situation, get in that ball pit, have a field day, and then go home and take a hot shower right away. So it's off me.
Would you rather be hit in the face with a thermos of alcoholic eggnog or with a giant candy cane?
I think the candy cane. It seemed painful, but I don't like hot liquids.
Yeah, we don't really know.
On my clothing.
We don't really know what it was made of. Wait, was the eggnog wasn't hot, was it? Is
it
hot eggnog a thing?
I think so. Oh, maybe it's not. Well, why would he keep it in a thermos then? Why wouldn't he just have it in a carton?
In the 90s, they didn't really have
No, I think it was hot. I think it was hot. Is it?
Then I retract my last answer. I don't want hot eggnog. I will eat the gross
hot
cookies.
Eggnog is a thing. More curious listeners, is hot eggnog a thing?
Well, it doesn't really matter for your answer because it's just what's inside. You're just getting hit with the outside of it.
It's true.
Okay, so we're going with the candy cane.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather miss your kid's karate class graduation or not get them the Christmas gift that you promised them?
I think miss the karate class because there's a meme that we will follow up with in the video version of this kid with a coffee mug, and the caption is when your mom says she's not going to get you the gifts that she does end up getting you, and she's so proud. And I just want to be one of those proud moms in a robe on a couch with my mug and seeing my kids open up the gift that I was I'm not getting it for you, but then I get it.
Ah, I like that. Okay, good answer. Well thought out. Who would you rather be in the holiday wintertainment parade? Booster, who is the pink furry thing that Sinbad throws off of the float, or the Christmas gift box with the legs sticking out that Sinbad pushes out of the way?
The gift box. I like his outfit better. I don't want to be part of the Turbo Man collection. I just want to be in like a holiday outfit. And there's something really funny about having the legs sticking out of a Christmas gift. I think it would get some laughs. So I think if we had to give this movie a rating, I'm going to go with McDonald's Ball Pit 1995. A kid just ate a Happy Meal and didn't wash his hands. That's the rating that I'm giving this movie.
I was just going to give it a V for violence.
V for violence. So we're going to update the ratings on this from G to V. And if you're shopping right now for upcoming gifts, stay safe out there. Don't fight the crowds. Don't give in to capitalism. Make your own cookies and give those as gifts because Rita Wilson knows best.
Are we going to give a little sneak as to what's coming next?
I don't even remember what we're doing next.
Oh, I definitely know because I'm about to have a 180-degree turn into a movie that is one of my favorites. Not only one of my favorite Christmas movies, but I'd say just one of my favorite movies, period.
Okay. Well, because I'm not remembering, I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right. We are heading back in time into the 1950s, and we will be revisiting the Christmas classic, White Christmas.
It's going to be a good one. There's sisters involved in it, so it's very on brand for us.
Yes.
I need to send you this link right now because this is what I was looking at.
Oh my God. Of course it's from Facebook.
Food court is so outdated. They should really invest in making it look better and more inviting. Garden State Plaza's food court looks great. Even has a play area for kids. Palisades has those same iron benches for 20 years. It's true. And then Palisades Centers wrote back, "Hey, Roy, thanks for your comment. We do appreciate the feedback and we'll forward it along to your team." Is someone going to go out and get new benches for the food court? No way.
I'm sorry. Panda Express is still there. I mean, the fake roller coaster track is still there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're going strong, but this chain keeps going. Mary pops in and says, "I want those benches to stay." They scream 1998 to me. People sitting at those tables on their Game Boys with puke green screens playing Pokemon and licensed games tied to the hottest new movies like Mulan and Small Soldiers. That 1998 is to me. Wow, really getting into it.
Wow, Mary is so passionate.
Someone else also has feelings about the food being outdated. The food is outdated, not just the mall. They need new restaurants, new food varieties, not same shit last 20 years.
Wait, and was that Daniel?
Daniel German. And Palisade Center said, "Hi, Daniel. Have you tried Firehouse Subs that opened last summer? Or the Hudson, which opened in April? Great new spots." Oh, Johnny Rockets has a vegan option. Oh my God, this is like recent. When is this? Oh no, this is from 3 years ago. This post. TBT. Who remembers that's what they posted it. They didn't know they were gonna get.
Oh no, yeah, it says 1 day ago. Vegan option.
Vegan options at wow, they're really
breaking news.
And see, today is a great day to get your walk-in at the Palisade Center.
I told you, it's just a glorified track.
Oh, and look, there's a Santa photo from 3 days ago. Guess what?
Santa's coming to town.
85 days, it'll be Christmas Day. Kickstart your holiday season here at Macy's.